I just don't think that's fair to say. If your friend was out there with a poster and he didn't have a brick in his hand, then he wasn't rioting. He was protesting.
No, it's because
does he become a rioter now if a section of the protest becomes a riot? Is he now a rioter?
If the story is that the riot is going on and the peaceful protesters are leaving before the riot start, then I have to assume everybody that's at the riot are rioters.
Okay, if they're still at the riot.
I'm starting to realize there's not much of a distinction that you have to make between quote unquote peaceful protesters and rioters. And I'll tell you why. Because it's like, at what point do you say, like, where basically every single peaceful protest turned into a riot? At what point do you still call it a peaceful protest? You get what I'm saying?
It's no longer a peaceful protest when it's a riot.
But
it started out as a peaceful protest. So whether
I'm talking about the nationwide side of it now, where we're calling the entire thing nationwide a peaceful protest. I don't think that's fair to say anymore. And I think it's based off of, like, there's something to me, and I've listened to a lot of the actual, like, rhetoric from the people who are the, again, quote unquote peaceful protesters, and their protest is not based on peace. It's based on violence. They want to defund the police.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That was basically the big thing of, like, okay, I think the Black Lives Matter and everybody that was protesting was like, all right, we have to actually have a reason to protest. You know what I mean? Like, we can't just keep saying the same thing over and over, because then the protest loses its kind of its steam, right?
Okay.
So, when the people who are the peaceful protesters come out and go, our big idea is to defund the police, now you're basically advocating for a lawless country. You get what I'm saying? Because what's your replacement?
When they say defund the police, do they mean take away all money and resources from the police, or are they saying
take away police? Period.
Or are they saying allocate a portion of police funds to raising up inner cities? Like how like where's that money going is what I'm saying. So if the action plan is to defund the police, I don't know what that means, because I don't know how many bonuses, how many donations, and how many other things the police are receiving throughout the years, the calls from the fraternal order, how many people are paying them like that. So
how does defunding them help anything? But that makes it worse.
But I'm saying, if you take some of that money and allocate it to making the inner city better, I think that might work. It might work. Everybody likes to talk about numbers. It's statistics prove that if you fucking live in a better area, you're bound to do, like, better. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you live in an area that's worth fucking living in, you're going to do better.
So what you're saying is remove the police and take that money that we pay police to put into the neighborhood, whatever that means.
I didn't say that.
What if it meant defunding them to reconstruct police, to make sure that what's going on now won't happen anymore? So what if they just defund it and put it into a different cause to make sure they're better police? That's probably what they want to do.
I don't get why the words defund.
I mean, I'm talking more like,
that's the thing that doesn't make sense.
Why does the police department need $5 million tanks? Like, are they mowing down civilian houses? Like, what are the tanks for? You know what I'm saying? So,
well, don't you want police to be well equipped?
I mean, there's well equipped and then there's over equipped. So, I mean, are they police or are they soldiers?
For military at that point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are they police or
tanks?
Are they soldiers? Yeah, like actual. Not
because they're using that word tank, and it's not tanks. They're fucking armored vehicles.
It's an armored car.
Yes. So using the word tank is trying to make you think it's got the big fucking bazooka on the front of it, and that's not true.
I've seen, they're not really tanks either, but they're damn sure almost shaped like it with the turret in it, but no gun or nothing launched on it or anything. But they do have pretty look like old school Humvees.
So if we remove that fixes what?
I guess that's the funding Blaze is talking about. That could go somewhere else.
I'm just trying to figure out where a situation where defunding the police might have a positive outcome. That's all I'm doing. I'm grabbing that straw.
Well, I'll give you an example of why they need tanks.
Okay.
Well, let's just say that there's like a public uprising and everybody starts fucking rioting all over the country. They might need armored vehicles to go into those places. Kind of what's going on right now.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Can't really argue that.
Well, like, I'm not going to tell the police, hey, you can go in those neighborhoods, but don't have any armor or shields or weapons or any, like.
I didn't say, no.
What the fuck kind of police force are we going to have?
See, now you're twisting everything that I'm saying. I'm not saying take away their fucking guns and their Kevlar and all that. I'm just saying their presence is almost military like. I remember growing up, it wasn't like if I was looking at a cop, it wasn't like I was looking at a Marine. I was looking at a cop, like he had blue pants, fucking blue shirt. You know what I'm saying? Now I look at a cop. I don't know if he's a fucking Army Ranger. I don't know if he's a cop. Like,
so what is your like? What I'm saying is, the whole argument from the beginning is that we had these pussy cops that couldn't handle a situation and it led to somebody's death. So what are you advocating for? Because now you're like, I don't want them to be too fucking equipped.
Well, hold on.
I don't want to look at an Army Ranger. What do you want to look at? Some fucking fat Chinese guy?
Well, that's kind of what George Floyd was looking at before he died.
Yeah. That's the point. So what would you rather have? Somebody who's actually equipped that can hold somebody down the right way?
I don't know if that's equipped. I don't know.
Maybe just money. The funding that they have, instead of putting it into all that, like all the artillery that Blaze is talking about, they could put it into better training.
I think, being mentally equipped is better than looking equipped.
So defund them because they could give them better training. How does that make sense logistically?
Because where's the money going now? If the money's not going into their training, where's it going now?
Do you see why I'm saying the rhetoric is fucking bullshit and it creates divisiveness because of the fact that they just use a term like defund the police and then they know it's a fucking extreme thing to say, right? Meaning if Joe Biden gets behind this and runs off of that, he's losing. He's going right back to not having a chance. They use an extreme term like defund, and then people go, well, what do you mean by defund? And then they say a bunch of horseshit that doesn't make sense. You get what I'm saying? Like, defunding anything doesn't help anything. If anything, they need better training, so you probably need more funding. Now, here's where the real problem is, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this, is police unions. Is the reason why it's so hard to go after police and even fire a cop is because they have unions behind them that they threaten like, well, we'll go on strike if you do that. And then now we're fucked.
Yeah, because no cops.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cops even that are advocating to get rid of police unions because it kind of, the union kind of separates them from the community itself. You get what I'm saying? So they say that's actually one of the things that if we can agree on, that would actually help a lot of these cases and a lot of, police brutality and stuff like that. So I'm just saying rhetoric, even if you think in your mind, I'm going out there to peacefully protest, you got to understand that if you're looking at all your peaceful protests and they all turn violent and turn into riots, there's something wrong with your rhetoric. There's something wrong with what you're saying prior to them rioting that's getting them to do that.
I don't know if that's fair because we both know that there are certain groups that want to cause chaos. So yeah, you have the protesters that are actually there to do the right thing and actually peacefully protest, and then you have the infiltrators that come in and fuck shit up.
Not everybody, even by a big percentage, not everybody that's rioting is part of a political group. It's those small groups that are starting it. And my point is, I think the majority of people that go out there are going out there to riot and cause chaos. Because the fact that it's literally taking over cities and we're seeing thousands of people run around. Where are the peaceful protesters? Like, how many of them are there? You get what I'm saying?
Out of all the protesters,
how many are they going to show? Because it is the media.
Well, where are they to speak out?
Out of all of the protests that we've seen, how many of those have turned into riots?
How many peaceful protests have turned into riots?
How many peaceful protests?
Almost all of them.
The ones down here didn't turn into riots, like where people burning shit.
There was things like, I know there was some looting, not too much.
Looting in Miami.
Yeah, looting. Miami got fucked. They were burning police cars. The second you're burning police cars, the second you're throwing stuff at police, now you're considered rioting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a difference between peaceful protest and I'm gonna throw a bottle at a police officer. That's not peaceful.
Now, the only thing that I've seen that's different about this is everywhere, like like all around the fucking world, people are fucking protesting
18 countries, all 50 states.
this one incident, and it's just like, bro, this is gonna be the jump point where things are gonna change. Like, I really feel like shit's gonna change after this one, because the whole goddamn world is mad about it.
I thought at first it's just an American thing when it comes to our community, but seeing the other 18 countries and they're doing the same thing, saying the same thing, it's like, all right, there's something that has to be said or done.
Well, now another thing is now they're saying the same thing over in like London, right? They're saying they're speaking with the same rhetoric. They're talking about how they feel oppressed and all that stuff. So, are you telling me that people who were born and raised in London somehow feel American oppression from slavery?
No, but there's almost in every part of the globe, you can guarantee there's gonna be some sort of racist or racism or mistreatment of somebody who is darker skinned. Like, that's
based on what?
Based off their skin. Like, you go to China.
What are you basing that information off of?
Off of
this protest.
Yeah.
On top of it.
But you can just YouTube anything that has to do with going to another country and being a certain color. Sometimes you get treated like shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, when black people go travel, sometimes they have to look at the racism rate in that country. Like, am I gonna be fucked up if I go over here?
So do white people. So does any color of people. There's racism everywhere. Like, what I'm saying is how, like, if we're saying that all of this, we had the conversation last week about how this is all like sort of connected to slavery. That's, to the root of it.
Right.
So what I'm saying is we're talking about people who don't have the history of American slavery that are still saying that they feel that oppression. You get what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
So where, like, at what point can I say I think you're just bullshitting and you're just saying stuff?
Because the whole world bullshit at the same time?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a leftist thing?
Yes, because there's leftist and right-wing politics all over the world. It's not just America. There's differences, but
no. But I'm asking you. You think that's you think the whole world is colluding to get your boy out by attaching themselves?
No, it's not just about Trump.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
That's what it's about here.
Okay,
but they all have their same stuff. London has their own Trump. Yeah. Like, they all have their people that they see as the I guess the old guard, the old white supremacist guard. So that's what this is all about, is trying to topple that.
Okay.
Based on no facts, no figures, no statistics, no anything except for what people think they think or feel that, like, where you're going, okay, you might go to London and feel like there's some sort of racism, right? What I'm saying is there's people that have these shared experiences on like YouTube and vlogs and all that type of shit. Well, they'll go like, I just felt, it'll be, nobody called them a racist slur. Nobody said, it's just they felt a certain way. You know what I mean? I felt like, I could just tell by the way they looked at me that they were racist. And now it's racist.
But you don't think that's a thing?
What?
If by the way somebody looks at you,
yeah, you feel a bad vibe,
right?
Yeah, but I think black people always connect that to racism, as opposed to, well, am I being an asshole right now, or are they just an asshole? Maybe it's not about race, maybe it's about something else. Maybe he doesn't like my pants.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, it's like
most of the time, most of the time I don't think that's what it is, depending on the person's age. Because it's mostly older white folks that I think that I think are the racist ones that are left. You know what I'm saying? it's not dying out as fast as I would like it to, because there's still a bunch of fucking young racist kids, but it's not as racist as it used to be. Now the police department is a different story. Because like I said last time, sometimes they can infiltrate that system and do what they want until they get caught, and now they have to pay for it. But sometimes they go on for years abusing people until eventually it catches up to them.
Why do you not see that black people can and have done that too? Like, why is that seen as a racist thing? It's not. That's what I don't get. Is why can't you look past that?
It's not that I can't. It's just.
Well, you're representing
I've heard stories of just the black experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, my experience is different. I'm a black man in America, but I don't fucking deal with the police. I stay the fuck out of the way, and I do what I do. But for a lot of people that have a lot of encounters with the police, whether they were breaking the law or not, sometimes the police just go too far. And the problem with that is they're the people that are supposed to not go that far. Like, they're supposed to be the barometer of where the line that you're not supposed to cross, because they're the fucking law.
I agree.
So the fact that they crossed the line so much, I think that's what got everybody so angry. And that abuse of power is obviously in other countries everywhere, because every police in every country, you saw the fucking Beanie Man battle. The fucking, you know what it's Beanie Man and fucking Bounty Killer, and they're fucking going off, and and as a cop, you gonna come in there and try to shut the shit down, bro. That's the police mentality. They just
they should get special treatment because they're Beanie Man and Bounty Killer.
Moment they knew who they were and what they were doing.
Who gives a fuck if they know?
What's the special treatment though? What is he there for? Is there a warrant? He's got a warrant.
No. I agree I don't agree with the lockdown. Okay. I agree they should have been able to do what they do. But if we all have to do it, I'm not gonna let go. Oh well, they're Beanie Man and Bounty Killer. They should be allowed. Just like the politicians that go get haircuts when they told us not to get haircuts. You know what I mean?
Oh, was Jamaica on lockdown when they did that?
I think they were in Miami. Yeah, they were in Miami.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I thought they were in Jamaica.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if we're all following the rules, then you don't get special treatment because you're famous, even if I agree with you. You know what I mean?
Fair point.
Because that's where we get, and that's what we talk about where, and I think black people should understand this better than anybody, but for some reason they don't, is precedence is such a big deal that if you set that precedence of going like, hey, we'll let Bounty Killer and Beanie Man get away with it, you know? Like without having like some sort of like, hey, you guys could do this before doing it. It's like I don't want that precedent to be set, even if it's for somebody I like.
Okay. So but you're just assuming that the cop was being a by the book cop and not just being a dickhead. Because it's possible that he could have just been trying to fuck with him.
Could be both.
Well, you never know. Those type of situations, we'll never know any of these situations, honestly. It could have been someone calling it because they heard loud ruckus. You know what I'm saying? Even though it was over 500,000 people watching, doesn't mean that neighborhood was watching to it or knew it was them right there to do it. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Could have been a common call from the police. And for being around to be like, yo, you gonna really do this? They're just, at that moment, they're getting us. They didn't bust in, they didn't come on camera, they didn't immediately shut it down. It sounded like it was a call, a concern call.
Could have been whatever. I mean, that's all I'm saying. It's like you can't just go. It's one thing or the other.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
Well, all right. Let me ask you guys a question now, because I think it's time to end the protests. I think it's over. I think we get not only do we all agree on the case, but we all understand what the protest is about. There's things being done actively to solve. To even to a point where it's like now they're just kowtowing to protesters because they're afraid of more destruction. You know what I mean? But all right, you gotta look at these numbers now, right? How many black men do you think were killed this year? Unarmed black men by the police.
By the police?
Yeah.
This year?
Yeah.
It's unfair. COVID-19 happened.
Fair point. Well, the white number's down too, though.
I'm going to guess my number. I'm going to go ahead and say, because it's June, I'm going to go ahead and say about 162.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many? You know what the real number is?
What's the real number?
9. 10 counting Floyd.
Okay.
9.
So 9.
Yeah. So now, is that genocide? Is that exterminating black people? Or is that just 9 mistakes that aren't even considered mistakes because even the unarmed...
Are those 9 that was put to media? This is 9
No,
solid?
9 altogether.
Or is this the ones that came to the verdict that they were unarmed?
No, no matter what the verdict was, it was 9 cases. 10 cases, sorry.
So whether they were guilty or not guilty, it was still, this is what happened.
Well, most of them were basically like, first off, considered not to be racism. Also, the cases had, we've argued a lot of them actually. But the cases had basically other circumstances that it wasn't what we were told. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So what I'm saying is the way you thought, because I thought the same thing. I thought, well, it has to be in the hundreds, at least the way, it's being talked about. And the fact that it's 9 people and we're destroying countries now.
Did all the cops that destroyed those 9 kids' lives, I guess you could say, or murdered them or whatever, did they get charged and prosecuted?
Not all of them. But not all of them were guilty. Like, they were not, just because you're unarmed doesn't mean you're not a danger. Like, some of them were grabbing for guns. Some, you know what I mean? Like, that type of shit. Now here's another statistic. 12 people have been killed during these riots. There's 12 bodies on these riots. That's now officially more than the unjust police killings.
What about the unjust arrests?
Or
what does it matter?
Or the unjust.
We're talking about murders.
I'm pretty sure they do unjust arrests too. That's why they record them. So
yeah, but that's not the argument. Because if you're alive, you can argue your case.
The protests, though, that's what they're.
That's not what they're arguing. They're arguing murders.
I think they're arguing the totality of police brutality, not just the murders. Yeah, the murders is a huge thing, but police brutality is more than just murders. Police brutality is seeing a guy that you see him every day, but you still throw him against the wall and fuck with him. Police brutality is
black guy in their mugshot pictures,
right? Fucking putting a gun to your head and
so that's more. That's more important than 12 people getting killed.
I didn't say
in
that.
A riot.
I didn't say that. I'm just trying to convey to you that the purpose for the riots was more than just the murders. It's
right.
It's everything the police are doing, and like I've already said that they're doing it to everybody. So once they start talking about everybody, then I think we'll see change. But right now, this is the moment that everybody's looking at. So I think it's important that, maybe we're the ones it had to happen to for it to get exposure. And now it's going to actually change. So.
Well, I don't even think the numbers are that bad. It's that big of a deal.
I just witnessed a 70-year-old man get mushed to the ground by police today. Leaking on the floor. A cop was trying to go for him. They grabbed him by his vest and shook him. That
guy should be fired, dealt with. I don't know.
He was put on administration leave, and then 41 officers that were there that day quit because he was put on leave.
Difference is the way obviously I don't think you see a fucking 70-year-old old guy period coming up to you. He's not a threat for you to push him down. But I can't judge it the same way as if it was just on the street. We're talking about in the midst of a fucking riot.
But you're talking about a 70-year-old man.
I'm not excusing it. I'm not excusing it at all.
But there's like 20 officers behind him.
Everybody.
Yes. It was fucking disgusting. What I'm saying is the cases within the riot, I'm not looking at any of that as fucking police brutality. Like, obviously there is police brutality going on, but like, I'm not judging that yet because I don't know what the fuck the cases are. Like that case I could look at and go, a 70-year-old guy is not posing any threat, even coming at you.
Right.
You don't have to do that.
Right.
So it's like, I'm just saying, like, the fact that the whole thing is based off of Black Lives Matter.
Mhm.
We're tired of getting killed, right? Because that is the ultimate.
Don't you think 9 unarmed people is too much?
I mean, 1 is too much if we're gonna talk in those cases. But
Well,
I know if we're talking about a population of 320 million people, we have 800,000 police. I don't see it as an epidemic. You know what I mean?
Unarmed in
I
America?
don't see it as a reason to even protest. It could just it's a discussion we need to have.
Is that just America's numbers?
Yeah.
So probably the protests other places have higher numbers.
Well, that's them. Let them deal with that. That's their country.
You just want to stay separate from the world, though. Like, you don't want everybody to like come
No, I don't
together.
know what their numbers are, so I don't honestly I don't give a fuck. Like
We don't
the
live
numbers
there,
here
so.
are fine. Like even the numbers based in the past like 5 years, the numbers have gone down drastically as far as police brutality. They're already doing it. They're already putting in most cities and states and stuff. They're already putting in better training and stuff like that. It's just no matter what, there's still going to be numbers that get through. The fact that we're down to 9 and white people are like 19 or some shit like that. Like the numbers are super low, and that's just for this year so far.
Okay.
Yeah, but the numbers are going down. There's there's a trend going down. So I'm just saying like none of this is necessary. I don't think any of it is necessary.
Okay.
And people are dying now. So I mean, I don't know how anybody could just write that off as like we're protesting Black Lives Matter as we kill black people.
That's a valid point. It's kind of, I can't argue for that because it just doesn't make sense. Like the gentleman who lost his life, I think he was protecting a pawn shop.
David Dorn, yeah.
Rest in peace to him. That's sad, bro. My man retired, and was supposed to live out the rest of his golden years. And he's laid up in a casket now.
Yeah, over some horse shit.
Yeah, I don't know how to. I don't know how we as a people like try to fix, ourselves. I think the issue is we feel like the system is already fixed against us. So
right.
That's where you see all the anger from. So yeah, it seemed the loss of life is never good, and that didn't need to happen at all. But it's the repercussions of how they've been feeling for so long and just blowing up. Now, of course, you're gonna have those people that are just fucking shit up because they're anarchists. And when that happens, you have situations like the gentleman dying, trying to protect the pawn
But
shop.
do you think that's outnumbered? Do you think the peaceful protesters outnumber
Absolutely.
the anarchists?
Absolutely.
Really?
Bro, I saw.
So why are they not stopping them then?
I saw a video of maybe, it looked like 50,000 people on a highway, bro. This shit was and they were just sitting there, bro. They weren't doing nothing. They were protesting though. They have the right to protest. They're just sitting there, and that peaceful. There was no riot after that. So when I'm saying I don't think all of these are ending in riots, yeah, you're probably gonna have
Name
riots.
another one that didn't end in chaos.
There was. Does it have to be here?
Wherever.
Okay,
Yeah.
So there was one in fucking was it Prague? It wasn't Prague. I think it was France. It's like one in France.
Oh no, I thought you meant in Florida. No, in America.
In America?
Yeah.
I can't right now. But
Right.
that is one that I know of.
Because the violence outnumbers the peace.
But I'm pretty sure
That's why.
they didn't cover all 50 states of what they did for the protests. So there's probably some states out there that had peaceful
Dude, they had
protests.
they had CNN out there going like, yes, this is definitely a peaceful protest. There's nothing really seriously going on as there's a building burning behind him. You get what I'm saying? Burning a building, even if people don't get hurt, that's violence. It doesn't have to be I punch somebody in the face or I kill somebody.
There's a news reporter saying almost the same thing. And then as he was saying it, this car rolled by and somebody threw a Hennessy bottle out the window.
At his fucking head.
Clocked him in his back. He was like, He was like, what the fuck was that? He was like, I think that was a Hennessy bottle. And they zoomed in on the bottle. Yeah. Bro, you can't make this up, bro. 2020 is wild.
Bro, the news is even not reporting it right. The fact that they're still calling it a peaceful protest is not the truth. Mm-hmm. And I'm not taking away, I'm not saying everybody out there is there to riot. There are peaceful protesters.
Right.
But the protest itself is no longer peaceful. And I think it's based off of the rhetoric from Black Lives Matter. And we were just talking about it, where they're telling these kids that, hey, the police are here to kill you. They're hunting you down. They're trying to fucking murder you. And we have no solution.
I literally saw a video of like 5 white kids. Like 2 of them had skateboards. One of them was tagging the wall with Black Lives Matter. And there was a black girl with a megaphone screaming at them to like, oh, stop. We not here for that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, like there's infiltrators in this movement that are low key trying to fuck it up. I don't think Black Lives Matter is.
You don't have to infiltrate, Blaze. If your rhetoric is already violent and we have this horrible. We're presenting you with this horrible
what's
problem.
What's the violent rhetoric? No justice, no peace?
I mean, I don't want to put chants out there, but there are chants that are violent. We want dead cops, all that shit.
How do you want them to protest then? What is a
have
protest?
Have a solution. Have a solution behind what you're saying. Don't just and base it off of fact. Have some sort of statistics or something to back it up with what you're saying. And they don't use statistics because their statistics don't back up their fucking rhetoric. Well, so they're lying, inciting people to be angry, and then going, all right, protest over. See you guys later. What the fuck do you think that does?
But you can find stats to prove anything.
Yeah, but what were the numbers like last year and years before that? Just not
they were worse.
Year alone. So they're lower than that? Or they
were worse.
They were higher than that. So they're also talking about those too, I guess. And if you added
let's
last
protest
10 years,
to create a time machine and go to the past.
Let's add the last 10 years of what happened to us compared to other races and see if then it matters if we're going to use statistics.
The statistics are based off of this too. Police encounters. Black people have more police encounters than any other race.
Do you know why that is?
Because they're committing more crimes.
Well, it's mostly because they're in a deeply impoverished area.
Okay, we could get into the reasons why, but can we admit that they're committing more crimes?
Yeah, because that's why they're committing more crimes.
All right, fair enough. But we still, in the meantime of trying to fix the poverty, we still have to lock up criminals and we still have to go after them.
That's fair, but at the same time, it's like sometimes they go after anybody because they look like a criminal. You could they could swear that you stole something, you ain't steal nothing, but you look like the guy that stole something. So now you're in jail until they find the guy that stole it. And it's like, oh, my bad, here you go.
And statistically, that doesn't happen a lot. What else are you going to base it on other than statistics? What are you basing what you're saying off of?
Stories, the Black experience.
There you go. You're basing it off of stories.
What off personal experience from people that actually live through it?
Would it be easier to make up a story or make up a statistic?
I think knowing the people's character is important when you're taking an account of a story. So if somebody that I deem to be somebody who I can trust tells me something happened between him and the cop, then yeah, I kind of have to believe that.
Based on race.
If that's how he felt it was, then yeah. If he said this cop did this to me because I was black, then I would be, yeah, why wouldn't I believe my brother when he told me that? I'm gonna believe him.
Fair enough. I mean, if you could believe him, but
if he has the evidence, yeah. If he's got a fucking shiner for no fucking reason, and he's
but how is that evidence that the police, like, what's saying that your friend didn't
unprovoked for no reason?
Unprovoked.
Yes.
Punched in the face. Just, hey, what's up? Punch you in the face.
Fucking with you, because you can't fuck with me back.
Or how about being held just for believing you're somebody in the neighborhood that did shit. Now you have to wait for people to come see if it's you. And then they say it's you, and it's not really you because you just look like the person from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
That happens.
Misidentifying somebody.
Yeah, just because, it looks like him. Not
based on race. Based on race. Like, it's just a black guy. Cool. We got him.
At that point, has the same description. Yeah, it looks like him.
And you don't think that happens to anybody else?
What, being misidentified?
Yeah.
Not as often.
What are you basing that off of?
Race.
No, what are you basing your how did you come to that decision?
My analysis?
Yeah, but what are you what are you basing it off of? If not statistics.
Okay, so let's take we've talked about this before. Let's take stop and frisk.
Mm.
Statistically speaking, they stopped more black and brown people than white people. Now, what you would say is that, well, no, statistics show that they stopped too many white people, but no, they didn't stop enough if it was to equal.
So, okay,
black and brown
let me
people.
ask you this then.
Yes.
If more white people came out and just started telling their story of getting fucked with by the police,
that would help.
That would really help.
That would help.
Yeah.
I don't think
now
so.
we'd be on a unified front. The police is fucking with y'all too? Great. Let's fucking stop them fucking with everybody else.
But white people do say that and you don't accept it. I'm saying it right now.
I don't accept it.
I'm telling you by statistics.
But I'm telling
you by experience too. You think I'm just saying I'm basing everything off of statistics?
I already told you.
I get fucked with the cops too.
I already told you that it would have to happen to us.
Yeah.
For it to make a difference.
No, you're saying that you're basing your truth off, and I hate saying your truth because that's faggoty.
Yeah,
but you're basing a truth. You're basing what you believe to be the truth off of somebody's word, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is now, if I'm saying it, does that now make it true because I'm a trusted friend?
Chris,
why do you accept his?
Chris, you know my character, bro.
Okay.
If I came to you, fucking jaw slack, like, bruh, fucking officer so and so just fucked me up for no reason.
Right.
Would you just take it off face value?
No, because you're not of the criminal element.
Okay.
If some of my other friends came to me and said that,
so
I'm
if
like,
I said it,
if you said it, no, because you're smart. You're not an idiot. I know you know how to deal with police. If let's say 10 years ago you said it, I would have been like, "What'd you do?
What'd you do, bro?
Like, how'd it go? I wouldn't even say what'd you do. I'd say what happened. You know what I mean? It's like a female that's fucking loud as fuck and rude, as opposed to a woman who's really nice. Mm-hmm. If the really nice woman comes to you and goes, my boyfriend just hit me, you'd be like, what the fuck? Why for? Mm-hmm. But if the loudmouth fucking rude bitch comes to you, you're gonna go, what did you do?
Wow, that's the first thing. I think I'd say it on both cases, though, to be honest.
Of course, because it's a woman. I'm being hyperbolic. But of course.
Afternoon DV, Jesus Christ.
But mentally, you're thinking like, all right, I know you said something, but still, as a dude, you don't hit a fucking bitch for saying something.
Yeah.
Right.
That's your mentality. But you go, I know you said something, though, bitch.
You say that,
yeah. Later, you might say that. Tell me the story.
Yeah. You hit him, didn't you?
Yeah. What you throw at him?
Did you hit my player?
Did you do? Oh my God!
Probably, exactly. So I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I can't base. I think it's smarter to not base it off of just what people say. I know a lot of white people who come and say, "Oh, I had a friend that was at the protest." Mm-hmm. And he's like, I couldn't believe the police brutality out there. I'm like, bro, you're rioting. The fuck are you talking about?
I just don't think that's fair to say. If your friend was out there with a poster and he didn't have a brick in his hand, then he wasn't rioting. He was protesting.
No, it's because...
Does he become a rioter now if a section of the protest becomes a riot? Is he now a rioter?
If the story is that the riot is going on and the peaceful protesters are leaving, before the riots start, then I have to assume everybody that's at the riot
Okay.
are rioters.
All right.
Okay, if you're still at the riot,
None of them are no
so
longer
if you're still
considered
at the
peaceful.
riot, you're a rioter.
Unless you went there and the whole time you're there as like a journalist, like I'm recording everything, then you're not a rioter. I'll consider you just a journalist.
A journalist.
I'm here just to record, even if you're on that side or whatever, but you're not protesting. You're not part of it. You're just
filming it.
Filming it from an unbiased perspective or whatever. Like, that's the only thing I'll consider that. If you're sticking around when you know for a fact now that most of these turn into riots, then I have to assume at this point you're smart enough to know that you're part of a riot. You're not part of the peaceful side of this.
So what if they are protesting? A riot's starting to break. They see it when it's coming, when it's happening. They run off. Cops stop them, hurt them because of that.
I'm seeing people who are seeing rioters that are protesters. They're seeing rioters and they're turning them into the police. Perfect, lovely. You're a peaceful protester because you're for peace. You're here to protest the police, but you know, like, we're just here to like find a solution.
Right.
We still know they have a job to do. You know what I'm saying? That's a reasonable, peaceful person in my book. But again, if it's starting and you're now joining in, obviously now you're not a peaceful protester anymore.
Okay, that's fair enough.
There's etiquette to even a protest.
Protest etiquette.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to help your own side, to help your own word. So that's all I'm saying.
So when is etiquette not needed? Like, when
it's always needed.
Okay.
To keep any
so
kind
you
of...
don't see any situation in which
unless it's tyranny. Unless it's tyranny.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Because that's where I was going.
But now, what I'm saying this too, this is why I'm saying this as opposed to being for it, because I'm seeing people die, mostly black people dying from these protests. And honestly, watching that I don't even want to watch it. That made me feel worse than watching the Floyd video. Watching David Dorn lay on the fucking concrete,
that was bad.
Twitching, dying in the middle of a chaos. Like, that's a horrible fucking way to go.
That's a way to go, bro.
Yeah, after you've served your community for what, 50 years, like,
die on your back in the middle of a riot.
That one got to me. Like it was horrible. But like, I see guys on CNN, this guy Chris Cuomo, who's going, since when did protests have to be peaceful? And it's like, why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Like, why are you justifying people, specifically black people who you quote unquote care about, which I think is bullshit. Why are you inciting them to go out and kill each other? You know what I mean? Or even go out and kill cops or even kill anybody. Like,
okay. Well, I don't know if that's fair, because we already said that a lot of these rioters are white kids. So I don't know if it was a white kid that shot that cop. So I'm not prepared to say that it was automatically a black person or a black rioter. Could have easily been a white rioter. We don't have near the amount of information.
No, but it was a black guy that got killed, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. I'm just trying to make sure we make the distinction and not just try to say that.
I don't care what color the killer was. It's just it doesn't. The guy that got killed is black. If we're arguing Black Lives Matter, and then for something I'm saying, if I say I'm not for Black Lives Matter, because I know the distinction between Black Lives Matter and the political group Black Lives Matter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I know the two. Now, if I say I'm not for Black Lives Matter, people see me as the enemy now. You know what I mean? The whole I had in this past 2 weeks, because I have a mixed family. I had family that basically disowned my side of the family, the white side, based on political beliefs and you know what I mean? Knowing that we're family, all at the same time, I had one of my white family members get attacked in a racial attack. You get what I'm saying? Like, so to me, I can't compute with me that way.
Gotcha.
Like, where I'm seeing it as a side thing, and that whole, like, we're disowning people now, and we're like, in the name of them being divisive, you're disowning them. That doesn't make it doesn't make any sense. It's not logical.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrible. Scares the fuck out of me too. I'm not gonna lie.
That's true too, bro. You just run the risk, feeling how you feel and thinking what you think. You just run the risk of people not fucking with you, and that's okay. Some people don't need to fuck with you. If family can be like, I'm not gonna fuck with you just because of your beliefs, then you don't have to fuck with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's just what
Simple.
it is. You were never really family if that's the case. So
look at the end of it, there's obviously police need better training. We all agree with this. Right. I would love to I'm not just because I accept that there are going to be people that unarmed people that get killed, and there's cases and there's nuance to things and all that. I would love for the number to be pulled down to 0. You know what I mean? Where nobody gets killed unjustly. But it's not reality, but we could get it as close to 0 as we can, and we are. It's literally, look at the statistics. We're fucking getting very close to it. And that's amazing, the fact that we're where we're at, that we're down so much. And I'm just worried that there's a lot of things going on, and we'll actually get into some of the video real quick, where we have a lot of, like, I feel like it's kowtowing out of fear, where I feel like we're going to restructure it too far to where we're already on the right track. It's just not there yet. And we're going to go the other way. You get what I'm saying? If, for me, God forbid, if we restructure it, I would like to take what we have and tweak it.
Okay.
That's how I look at it.
Okay.
As opposed to restructuring. I don't think that's necessary.